Hey everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. Today we're going to do some full body stretches, and I'm going to start with standing stretches, and then from there I'm going to go on to seated stretches, and then we'll end with stretches on the floor or stretches that you can do from bed. And the reason why stretching is so important is because, number one, it will help to reduce the risk of injury by increasing your flexibility. When your muscles are more flexible, they have a greater range of motion and they're less likely to pull when you're doing any type of activity. Even something as simple as picking something up off of the floor, if you have a really tight low back, you could actually injure your back and not even realize that your back was even that tight. So that's one reason that stretching is so essential. Another reason is that it will help to actually improve your blood circulation. Again, just by getting those muscles more flexible and loosened up, and just the movement of stretching alone will help to increase your blood circulation, just getting that movement in. And it's also going to be very good for your joints, because when your muscles are loose, they won't pull on your joints in an unnatural way. Because oftentimes if we are tight in certain areas of our body, like for example, if our low back is tight and we have a tendency to pop our butt back, it can actually start to cause stress on our joints, like our hip joint, and then it can even start to cause misalignments that will affect our knees. And so there's so many different complications that can come from having muscles that are very tight and that are not in their natural stretch state. Stretching is definitely something that should be done after every single workout. Whether you stretch before or after the workout doesn't matter, because before the workout, if you're going to stretch before your workout, you want to make sure that you at least take 10 minutes to warm up. Whether it's a really brisk walk or going on a machine at the gym for a few minutes, whatever it is, it's very important that you never stretch cold muscles, because that will put you at a higher risk of injury. So again, always make sure that your body is warmed up if you're going to stretch before the workout. After the workout is ideal, because that's when your muscles are going to be the warmest. And also, after you've done any type of workout, you've most likely contracted your muscles, and your muscles will stay in that slightly contracted state. Eventually they will relax, but they may not relax all the way back to its natural state like you want them to be in. And again, which could increase your risk of injury in the future. So after a workout, you always want to make sure you take time to stretch those muscles, get them back into that nice relaxed state, so that way, again, your muscles will be more flexible, have a greater range of motion, and also stretching will help to just relax you in general, and it will also help to bring your heart rate down. And so that's why I love stretching right before bed, because it gets you into a relaxed state, ready to sleep. And it also will help to loosen up the tight muscles that you've been tensing up during the day, whether it's with activity or stress that you've been dealing with at work or whatever it is. You always want to make sure that you go to bed in a relaxed state, and stretching before bed is something that will help to achieve that. So, okay, we're going to start with just a few standing stretches. I'm not going to do a whole lot of standing stretches. Most of them will be the seated and the laying down. But the first one we're going to start with is going to be a stretch for your pectoralis major muscle, your chest. And this is going to be really good for those of you that have a tendency to round your posture and bring your shoulders forward. A lot of times that's because you have a lot of tightness in the upper part of your chest right here. So what we're going to do, all you're going to need for this stretch is a wall. So you're just going to put your hand up against the wall, and then from here you're just going to walk away from it and just rotate your body away from that hand that's on the wall. And anytime you stretch, you always want to make sure that you're breathing, and we're also making sure that our shoulders are staying down, that we're not bringing our shoulders up or anything like that, but the shoulders are staying nice and relaxed. On your own, I want you guys to hold the stretches for 30 to 60 seconds. I'm personally not going to hold it that long today, again, just so that this video isn't too long. But when you're on your own, you want to make sure that your stretches are at least 30 seconds. 60 seconds is ideal. 90 seconds is really fantastic. So if you can do it for 90 seconds, that is awesome. But again, at least 30 seconds, and that's only if you're in a hurry and you want to get some stretching in, but you just don't have a lot of time. But definitely 60 seconds is just about the perfect point, because that will give your muscles a chance to loosen up and to just release. Okay, so the next stretch is going to be for the upper part of our back, and this one's very easy to do. So what you're going to do, you're just going to lace your fingers together like this, and then you're just going to take your back, your upper body, and you're just going to round it forward just like that, and breathe. And you're also going to kind of dig your chin into your chest, and that will help to accentuate the stretch. And again, you want to act as if there's something on the other side of you pulling your hands forward, and you're pulling it out, pushing it out as much as you can. And again, this is a great stretch again for those of you that work at a desk all day long and you're doing this on the computer. This is a great way to stretch out that upper back and to keep it loosened up throughout the day. Next stretch is going to be just a hamstring and glute stretch. So with this one, what you're going to do, you're going to bring one foot out to the side, and you're just going to let your upper body lean forward slightly while this knee is slightly bent. I don't know if you guys can see my toe here, but I'm pointing my toe up to the ceiling, and that pointing your toe up is going to help to accentuate the stretch in your calf muscle as well as your hamstring muscle. And only stretch as far as what feels comfortable. You would never want to go beyond what's appropriate. Okay, now we're going to do the other side, and we're going to do a really quick side view so you guys can kind of see with my upper body. Although I am leaning forward with my upper body and I'm bending my knee, I'm not doing this, okay? I'm still keeping my neutral spine. It's almost like a squat, but we're just, you know, holding it. We're just holding the stretch. And so, but the form, the rules for where your position needs to be is very similar to what you would do with the basic squat form. Okay, so now we're going to do a quadricep stretch standing up. And with this one, you're probably going to want something to hold on to in the beginning until your balance improves. If you want to try to challenge yourself, that's fine, but you can hold on if you need to. And so for this one, we're just going to grab our foot and we're going to bring it up and just let our quadricep muscles stretch out in the front. Now, for those of you that have a limited range of motion just because you're not that flexible, or perhaps you have some type of knee injury or pain in your knee, you can take, I just have a pillowcase right here. You can use a towel, or even your resist-bands, like the thick ones that we've used in some of our workouts, the ones that I put around my feet, and then we do like our exercises. But you can use one of those bands, like the stretchy ones as well. And so I'm just using a pillowcase here, and just put it around the foot. And then that way you don't have to reach all the way down, and you don't have to bring it up as high, you know, in order for your hand to be able to grab it. And so for this one, again, this is great for those of you that have any type of pain or discomfort in your knees. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull it all the way up. But again, hold on to something if you need to. And we're still maintaining our neutral spine. Okay, we're always in neutral spine at all times. And now we're going to switch. I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to do it without the pillowcase, but again, you can grab a pillowcase or you can grab a band if you need to. And again, I'm keeping my body in its neutral. I'm not doing this at all, okay? I'm not rounding my shoulders. And if you tuck your butt in even a little bit, you'll feel a little bit of an accentuated stretch in your hamstring, okay? If you want to try that, but you don't have to. If you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. You can just stick with the basic quadricep stretch. So, okay, and the tight quadricep muscles can start to cause issues with our knees as well if we have muscles in our quadriceps that are really, really tight. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead. We're going to move down into some seated stretches now. Okay, now we're going to go on to some seated stretches. I'm using my big recliner chair for this today. So you guys can do these stretches from your recliner, especially if you're watching TV or you're just relaxing for the evening. If you're someone who likes to watch your TV shows for like an hour, a couple hours before you go to bed, these would be really great stretches that you can do like at commercials or in between your shows. Again, just to kind of keep your body flexible and to keep your body from getting too tight. These are also going to be great stretches that you can do at work, especially. And so for a lot of my clients that struggle with feeling tightness throughout the day when they're seated at their desk for long periods of time, I recommend that they do these stretches like once an hour. And sometimes I'll even recommend that they put like a little alert or alarm on their phone to remind them that it's time to stretch. And it will really, really help to reduce tightness throughout the day, so that when you get home, your muscles aren't all tightened up, not just from sitting all day, but just from the stress that so many of us deal with when we're at work throughout the day. So, okay, one of my favorite ones, and again, it's very simple to do, it's just a basic rotation. So what you would do, you would grab the arm of your chair, and then you would put one hand on the back, or you can actually keep both of them on the arm if you want to. I usually put one on the back. Well, for this one, it's a little big, and then you just rotate your body and just go as far as what feels comfortable, and that's pretty much it. And again, remember, you'll hold these stretches for about 30 seconds, and these will be really great stretches to help to loosen up your low back. And so many of us carry so much tension in our low back because, again, we have a tendency to use our low back to do everything, when we're not training our transverse abdominis to assist us with movements. But even being in a seated position, when we sit down, it actually compresses the vertebrae in the lower part of our back, and it puts about 30% more pressure on there whenever we're seated. So that's why doing stretches like that for your low back are going to be very, very important throughout the day when you're in a seated position for an extended amount of time. The next one is going to be for what the piriformis muscle. And so what you're going to do, you're going to take your foot, put it on top of your knee, and then you're just going to lean forward. Now this one, I don't get a great range of motion because I'm really tight there, especially today because I did my weights yesterday. I'm always tight the next day. But this is going to be really great for your piriformis muscle, which is a muscle really deep underneath your glute muscles. And a tight piriformis muscle can often cause, again, your back to kind of arch and have an extended lordotic curve, which could, again, cause stress and compression in the lumbar vertebrae. So that's why this is a very important muscle to stretch. And then we'll do the other side. Remember, you're doing these stretches for 30 to 60 seconds. I'm only holding them for a few seconds today just for the sake of time. And just do the best you can as far as range of motion. Don't worry about how far down you can go. For some people, if you've had knee problems or hip replacement, this might not be recommended for certain types of hip replacements. So if you have had a hip replacement, make sure that you check with your physical therapist or your surgeon, your doctor, to know which stretches are appropriate for you, because I know that this stretch in particular is not recommended for people that have had certain types of hip replacements. So you always want to make sure you check with that first. Okay, so again, that's going to be for your piriformis muscle, and you can also do your hamstring. So with this one, that you pretty much do the exact same thing that you did standing up, but we're just going to do it sitting down. So again, you would just extend one foot to the side and you would just lean forward. And this again is going to stretch your hamstring real nice. And if you point your toe up, it will help to accentuate the stretch in your calf muscle and in your hamstring as well. And then we'll do the other side. Again, just stretching it out. And make sure you're breathing and only go down as far as what feels comfortable. It should just feel just like a nice gentle pull. It shouldn't be painful. You never want to force a stretch. You only go as far as what feels like a nice gentle pull, and that's it. Because again, you don't want to hurt yourself. Another one is what I call the hug stretch. And this stretch is very simple, where you basically take one hand on top of your shoulder and the other, and you essentially just give yourself a hug. So you push your shoulders down, like you consciously push your shoulders down with your hands, and you dig your chin into your chest, and then you'll round your back. Again, make sure you're breathing and you're trying to push those shoulders down with your hands. And this one feels so good in the upper back. It feels really good. Again, especially for those of you that are working on computers for hours at a time. The next one is going to be for your tricep muscle as well as the back of your shoulder. And so with this one, you're going to put your arm in front of you and the opposite arm is going to go up against it. And you're just going to push the arm forward and make sure your shoulders stay down and relaxed. And just breathe when you're doing your stretch. And again, you just push it as far as what feels comfortable. And you'll feel this one in the upper part of your back as well. And again, it's going to feel fantastic. It's going to feel really, really great on that upper back, where we all hold a lot of tightness there. I haven't even had a career where I've been seated at a desk for years. I've always worked as a personal trainer, so I've always been up and moving around, and I still hold a lot of tightness in the upper part of my back. So it's just an area that so many of us have a tendency to carry our stress there. And again, it can cause problems over time. The next one is going to be for your chest, okay? So you're going to take your hands, interlace them, put them behind your head, and just bring your elbows back behind your body. And just open up that chest as far as you can, okay? And again, make sure you're breathing. Open up that chest and let it stretch out. And so, again, I recommend that you put a timer on your phone to remind yourself to do these stretches once an hour at work, or at least 3 or 4 times throughout the day. And I guarantee you'll really start to notice a significant decrease in your pain and your discomfort in your back, in the upper part of your back, in your glutes, your lower body. You'll definitely start to feel a decrease in the tightness in those areas if you start to practice these stretches throughout the day when you're at work. And it will really help you to deal with stress. And also it'll remind you to breathe. So when you're stretching, you want to make sure you're really thinking about your breathing, that you're taking nice deep breaths. Remember, from our diaphragm, when we breathe from our diaphragm, we breathe from our belly button. Where we breathe in, our belly button comes out. When we breathe out, our belly button goes in. And in my video about diaphragmatic breathing, I did talk about how you can practice diaphragmatic breathing throughout the day, even when you're at work as well. So you can incorporate diaphragmatic breathing into doing your stretches throughout the day. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the floor, and we'll end with that. Okay, so now we're going to end with some floor exercises, or some floor stretches. And first I'm going to start with some seated up. And so the first one I'm going to do is going to be for the inner thigh as well as the hamstring. We'll get the hamstring a little bit. So these might all be stretches that you're familiar with, that you've done in the past. So what we're going to do, we're just going to put one foot out to the side. And you're just going to lean forward into that leg. And you want to kind of bring your chest towards the leg. You don't want to round your back too much, but just let your body, your upper back, stay in its neutral spine still. And bring your chest down towards your knee. As you can see, I don't really have a great range of motion. My hamstrings have always been really inflexible. Even when I was a child, I could never do the splits. So I don't know, flexibility just wasn't something that always came to me naturally. If you want to intensify the stretch, you can point your toe up if you want to. You'll feel a little bit more of a stretch in the calf, but you don't have to. Again, it's just to intensify it if you like. And so this will be a great stretch. Again, it gets the inner thigh as well as it gets the hamstring a little bit as well. And then from here, we can do a stretch for our oblique muscle, where you just bring your hand over to the side and just let your body lean over into that. And that'll stretch all these muscles right here, including the lat muscle will get a little bit of a stretch with this stretch right here. And always just breathe when you're going into your stretch. Make sure you never forget to breathe. And again, great way to stretch out those oblique muscles as well as that low back. All right, now we're going to switch to the other side. So we're just going to lean into this leg. Remember, I'm just doing a few seconds just for the sake of time, but on your own, you guys are going to be doing these stretches for at least 30 seconds, 60 seconds ideal. And again, make sure you're breathing, and I'm just bringing my chest down in towards the leg, and just only go down as far as what you can. I know some people that can bring their head all the way down, you know, to their tibia bone here. So again, I've never been one of those people. If you can do that, that's fantastic. Now we're going to go over to the side and stretch out our oblique muscle. Again, we're going to be getting a little bit of the low back, a little bit of the lat when we do this one too. And again, feels really good in that area for those muscles. And make sure you're breathing. Never forget to breathe. All right, now I'm going to relax. All right, so that's going to be a really great seated stretch for that. The next one is going to be another one for the piriformis. And for those of you that have a difficult time getting a lot of bending in your knee or a lot of movement in your knees because of injury, you can kind of back off this one right now. But for those of you that are flexible enough, you can do this one with me. And for this one, you're going to bring one foot over on top of your leg, and you're just going to pull the leg up or the knee up towards your chest. And if you want, you can actually try a modified version would be to bring your legs straight in front of you. Okay. Again, if this leg right here doesn't hurt your knee too much, but that would be a modified version, is to straighten that leg in front of you. And again, just breathe. Take nice deep breaths as you're doing your stretch. And I'm also making sure that my shoulders are staying down and relaxed. My whole body, all my muscles are relaxed throughout the stretch. And now we're going to switch to the other leg. Again, you can straighten this leg out in front of you if you want to. And again, I'm just going to pull this in. Again, it's kind of like I'm giving my leg a hug. So just pull it in close to your body. And just as far as what feels comfortable. My hips have always been a little bit more flexible than my hamstrings, but my hamstrings have always been so terrible. And I have to constantly stretch them and try to work on getting them more flexible and loosening them out. And relax. Okay, so from here, what I'll often do is I'll go into the hug stretch, or there's also a little bit more of an advanced version of the hug stretch, where you take your arms and you wrap them around, and then you grab your hands like this, okay? So this is for people that have like really long, skinny arms, kind of like I do. And not too large chested. And so if you can do this one, if you really want to get a good stretch and you want to kind of wrap your hands around like this, then you can participate with that stretch too. Or again, you can just do the hug stretch. And if sitting like this is too uncomfortable, you can just sit, you know, normal Indian style when you're doing this. And so we can do the hug stretch again. This is a good one. And again, just pulling your shoulders down. Digging your chin into your chest, letting your upper body lean forward. Now I'm actually going to switch side, which is what I didn't do when we were sitting on the chair. But when you're doing the hug stretch, you do want to switch sides, because one hand will be able to pull a little bit harder on the other shoulder. So it's good. It's beneficial to switch sides to kind of make sure that both sides get a really good stretch. Again, just breathe and hold that stretch. Again, on your own, you'll be holding it for at least 30 seconds. So those are some good seated stretches that you can do on the floor. Now let's go ahead. We're going to lay down. Some of these stretches will be familiar to those of you that have already done some workouts with me, because we ended with these stretches. And so some of them will be familiar. Okay, so now we're going to start with just a great low back stretch. Again, this is one that you can do before bed, and this one is amazing to do before bed, because so many of us wake up with really tight low backs. At least I know that I do. Some mornings I'll wake up, oh my God, it just feels like my back is just, it's a stiff board. I mean, it's so painful. And doing these stretches before we go to bed will help to loosen up our low back, so that way throughout the night. And if you wake up like throughout the night and your back is feeling really tight, just take a second to lay on your back, pull those knees in, and just go as far as what you can. If you can't go this far in, just grab your knees and just go as far in as what feels comfortable. Okay, but it's a very easy stretch to do. And for some people, they'll prefer to actually just pull one leg in at a time, because even this right here is too intense. You're still too tight for that. You can just do one leg at a time, you know, and then switch sides if you want to do that version too. Is more modified. But I like to do this one. And I personally like to hug my legs, but again, you do what levels feels comfortable for you. And then from here, I'll go into a good hamstring stretch. For me personally, I always like to keep one leg bent when I go into my hamstring stretch, because my hamstrings, again, are so tight. If I straighten my leg, I won't get a great stretch, and I'll also have a tendency to arch my back. Some of you might be flexible enough where you can straighten that leg and you can still pull back that hamstring and you won't arch your back. If you can do that, that's great. That's not me. So for those of you with really tight hamstrings, do keep this leg bent. and it will help to protect your low back because you won't arch it as much, and you'll still be able to get a little bit of a better stretch in your hamstring. Now, another option that you could do as well is you could actually take like the pillowcase that I used earlier, or your band, your resist-a-band, and some people will put it around their foot and just kind of pull on that and then hold it right there. I forgot to put one next to me to demonstrate, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You can just kind of pull it around your foot, and then you can get a little bit more of a stretch in the calf, the hamstring. So that's also another alternative that you can do for your hamstring as well. And we'll switch to the other side. My hamstrings are really tight today. And again, make sure you're breathing. Again, make sure that your shoulders, your upper body is also relaxed. It's really easy to tense the rest of our body, even when we're in the stretch, trying to relax our body. Okay. So this is also another version of the piriformis muscle stretch. A lot of people have a hard time with doing this one from the floor. They're a lot more comfortable doing the seated version that I did a few minutes ago. So what you'll do with this one is put your foot on top of your knee, and I just take my hands and I bring them in kind of between this little space right here, and I'll grab the back of my hamstring and I'll pull it in. But again, there's some people that can't do this. Their knees are way too tight, their hips are way too tight. So if this one is too difficult for you, it's much better that you attempt this one on the chair. Again, for those of you that have not had certain types of hip replacements, it's appropriate. For some people, it is not appropriate, and that's when you always ask your doctor. Always ask your doctor to see what's going to be more appropriate for you. And now we're going to switch and do the other side. Again, I'm reaching in here. My shoulders are staying relaxed. My upper body staying nice and relaxed. And I'm just breathing. And remember, I'm breathing from my diaphragm, breathing from my belly button. As I breathe in, my belly button goes out. As I breathe out, my belly button goes in. And that's a nice stretch for the piriformis muscle. Okay, so now we're going to do erector spinae, which is actually a muscle that goes all the way up and down your spine. And for this one, there's two different versions. Again, we've done this one in other videos where you can just rotate your legs to the side and just let them fall like that. For those of you, again, who are very inflexible and you're not even comfortable doing this far, just take a couple pillows, put them underneath your legs so that way they have some place to stop a little bit sooner. Okay, if you're not quite ready for that, for your legs to go to the floor, that's fine. If you're afraid that you're going to pull your back, that's okay. I'm actually going to take this out. Starting to irritate me. All right, and just let your legs fall to the side. The more advanced version would be to let one leg straighten and bring the other leg over to the side like that. This is a more advanced version for those of you who are very flexible. And we're trying to bring our shoulder down to the floor on the other side. And to really intensify the stretch, you'd want to look the opposite direction of your knee, like that. Another thing that I'll do to instruct my clients in order to try to improve their range of motion with the stretch is I'll instruct them that every time they breathe out to try to get a little bit more range of motion. So when you breathe out, try to get a little bit more of a stretch with each exhale. And again, never force it. If this is how far your shoulder comes down, that's fine. Just let it hang out there. Okay? So don't worry about bringing it all the way down to the floor. We're not doing this to hurt ourselves. We're doing this to make us better. We're doing this to heal ourselves. And again, you could be doing this version right now as well. All right? So whatever version is most comfortable for you. Just nice, controlled breaths. Nice deep breaths from our diaphragm. And just going as far as what feels comfortable. And again, my upper body is staying relaxed. It's not staying up. It's not staying too tense. Okay? Just like that. Okay? And that'll be a really great stretch. Again, all those stretches that I just showed you will be really great stretches. Again, just to help to loosen up your low back and keep that low back nice and comfortable when you're trying to go to sleep at night. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do is going to be a quadricep stretch. Again, this is going to be the same as the one that we did when we were standing, but it's just going to be laying down. And you can use the same modifications where you use a band or a pillowcase. So all we're going to do is we're going to rotate to the side, and then we're just going to grab our leg and pull our quadricep muscle in. Stretch that out. And again, try to relax. Make sure the rest of your body stays relaxed. So again, this is just a good quadricep stretch that you can do laying down. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of flip to the other side here. So I'm still facing you. And again, I'm just pulling that quadricep muscle in. And I'm keeping my knees together. And I'm not arching my back, okay? I'm keeping my butt tucked in a little bit. I'm not letting my back arch when I'm doing this stretch. Okay, and again, you can use the pillowcase if you want to kind of pull up on that if you want. And again, that's only if the stretch does not hurt your knees, okay? And that's very important. All right, so the last stretch that we're going to do is going to be a hip flexor stretch, which is a really great stretch, again, for your hip flexor. You'll feel your quadricep a little bit too. So for this stretch, we're going to go on one knee, and you want to make sure that you have some kind of a padding. That's going to be very important. You never want to let your knee rest on a hard surface. Always make sure it's a nice, soft, padded surface. So what we're going to do is bring one foot in front of us, and we're going to lean forward. And this is going to be getting our hip flexor muscle, and our quadricep muscle will feel a little bit of a stretch there too. Some people really like to intensify it, and they'll actually grab their foot back here to really intensify it, but you don't have to, okay? Again, it really depends on what your comfort level is, what your flexibility is. So just only go as far as only do what feels comfortable, what feels good for you. All right, now I'm going to switch the other side. Bring this foot forward. And again, I'm just leaning into it. And this will be great for that hip flexor muscle, which a lot of people will feel tightness in their hip flexor muscle, and that can cause to have an excessive lordotic curve, which can, you know, of course, over time cause problems. Great stretch for that hip flexor. Okay. All right, guys, so that's about it for today. So those are some really good full body stretches that you can do for your chest, for your back, for your quadriceps, for your hamstrings, for your hips, for your upper back. So pretty much everything. And these are stretches, you don't have to do every single one every day, but at least do some variety of them every single day. And again, stretching is so important because it keeps your muscles conditioned, it keeps them flexible, making it a lot less likely for you to injure yourself in the future. So 10 to 15 minutes a day, try to set aside to do these stretches, holding it for at least 30 seconds, 60 seconds is ideal, 90 seconds and you're a superhero. But the next video is going to be on our next nutrition video, and it's going to be on the different nutrition plans that are out there, the most popular ones like vegetarian, veganism, paleo diet, ketogenic diet, Mediterranean diet, just all the different plans that are out there. And just to kind of explain and break it down what each nutrition plan is and which nutrition plan is going to be the most appropriate one for you. And one thing I'm also going to start doing this week is I'm going to start doing small, like real short educational videos or instructional videos on how to do specific exercises and specific movements. And the reason why I want to do that, I want to start kind of separating the instructional videos from the actual workout videos, because this weekend I'm going to be filming my next full body circuit training. And this is going to be more advanced than the one we did last time. And I've already figured out a much better setting to do that one in, so it'll be much better views and angles. You'll be able to see it a lot better. And so I have a better alternative for that. But I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of instruction. So if you want to participate in the more advanced circuit training workout I'm going to be doing, you're going to want to watch my video on, or make sure that you're comfortable with my video on posture, where I talk about scapular retraction, on how to increase posture, decrease pain, increase abdominal strength. I'll put links, or I'll try to put the annotations to the side. I'll try to put links on the description below so you know which ones. And you'll probably want to watch the full body circuit training workout that I did last time, So that way, because we're going to be doing a lot of those different movements and I'm going to be advancing you in those movements. So you want to make sure that you watch those 2 videos so that, and again, I'll put a link, or I'll also try to put them on the side here, to those videos, so that way you can practice and check those videos out first. So when I go on to the full body, more advanced circuit training workout, you'll feel comfortable, you'll feel prepared that you already understand the movement. And again, I'm going to be doing the instructional videos separate, so that way I'm not doing the instructional portion before the workout. So that way I can get right into the workout. That'll make the video a lot shorter, and I think it'll be better for you, because in that way we can just get into the workout. You don't have to worry about the instructional part. You can actually watch that part on your own, and we're not, you know, wasting time doing that in the beginning of the actual workout video. So, okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoyed the stretches. If there's any questions that you have, please feel free to comment below, or if there's anything specific that you would like me to do for you, definitely leave a comment. I'll do a video specifically for any topic that you want to learn more about. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, so that way you can always be aware and be alerted of new videos that are coming out. So, okay guys, again, thank you so much for your time and attention. I always appreciate it. Remember, take care of yourself, protect yourself physically and emotionally. And don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.